Hello. As some of you may know, I'm going to be making cosplay. I have absolutely zero cosplay experience. Never mind that, I have no experience crafting anything. So I've previously done a day zero video on YouTube. So that's basically just covering all the equipment and materials that I've collected to make a start on this project. I guess this marks day uno, one, ein. So anyway, to start, I'm going to be making a cast of my forearm. This bit here. My cosplay involves a whole full arm piece, but I'm going to start just with the forearm. So to get started, what I'm going to do is wrap cling film around my arm, and then on top of that cling film, I'm going to wrap that in duct tape. Cutting myself back out should give me a flat template of what my forearm's shape and size is. First step, find the end of the cling film. Got it. So that should keep on my arm while I wrap that tight. Last thing I want is that duct tape sticking to my arm, so I'll get this wrapped up nice and tight. That should be more than enough. Right to my elbow, it's more than enough. Step 3, find the end of the duct tape. I found it. Well, that's very, very messy, but I think it does the job. Again, I'm just using this to trace, and I can fix up the imperfections on the trace. Anyway, that's the cosplay. So, step question mark. I've got to get myself back out of this. Yeah, so I've seen a lot of people draw onto the cast and then use that when they're tracing. But for me, because again, I'm going to pop this into a digital format, I just want the outline and I can do all the detail on the inside. There is potential for that to go wrong and be a bad idea, but I'm going to try it and find out. It's going to be a terribly wonky cut, but it's a cut. Cool. So, I have a couple of pens, still got my scissors. I think it might just fit A4, but I don't think I've got any A3 in. So, what I do have, wrapping paper. I mean, I just need it for an outline that I can trace into Illustrator. How do I best do this? Yeah, maybe I should have watched another tutorial before I got to this point. I'm going to press this on. Yeah, so what I might do first, I'm just going to mark on the corners, so then if I end up accidentally moving this too much, I can at least regain my corners. I'm going to start on this top edge, I think. I almost still want a weight in the middle of this, I think. I'm just using stuff I find in the kitchen around me. I'll weigh this thing down. If I just leave that there, at least in the middle, has some level of pressure. Leave it about there. It's got wrinkles in it. This isn't gonna be accurate, but it's gonna be just a rough guide. Basically, I'm gonna literally just follow this edge actually. That's not gonna look right at all. Probably do a couple of traces. So I have a few versions. So if I now try and press these edges down, no, that's not going to do it. I mean, to be honest, I mainly just want this to get measurements. So once I just have this rough guide and the measurements in place, I can kind of shape it into perfection anyway. At least that's my plan. It's not a good plan, but it is a plan. Yeah, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to turn out. My only concern is the bend like this. So, I need to get on some measurements as well along these lines. That curved one's going to be questionable, and that curve's going to be questionable, but I can do, again, maybe 2 estimated measurements. Do I have big ruler? Oh, there's my big ruler. I can almost just kind of measure the corner to corner. So I'm going to say 25.5 on that, I think. Also measuring about 25.5, so that's a good start. I feel like those should be the same length, seeing as they were cut on the same line. Now, I don't think this is going to be necessary, but I'm just going to do it so I have the numbers anyway. So I can line that up on my curve-ish and get an alternative measurement. Let's ramble about what my prediction is going to be of how this is going to go down. This is going to fit terribly. However, I'm going to cut it out of the cheap foam as a first prototype, put it on, and then once it's not fitting correctly, I can probably draw on where I want to make my second adjustment. So make a second one out of foam. It's going to be way easier to trace a foam cutout as well than it is this duct tape cutout. So this is just the bare bones version 1. Let's start to label that. Just need to get a flat photo of this, and then I can recreate this in Illustrator. That'll do. Right, okay, that wraps up today's efforts. So we have a cast and a version 1 template to work off now. So yeah, I'm now going to take that and redraw that into Illustrator to the measurements that I've taken. I will use that to make a printout, which I can then cut onto foam and then wrap that foam around my arm and see how it comes together. But anyway, that got me a really janky cast, but at least as a start, I can at least estimate somewhat the measurements of my arm and the shape it's going to take. I'm going to stick it in Illustrator to the measurements I got, just as the base foundations to start with. Now I can take that as a trace over some cheap EVA foam, just as a trial run, see how it fits when I actually put it on my arm, and then I can make adjustments from there. I can just make the template bigger, I can make it smaller, I can change the lines, I can do that just in Illustrator without having to constantly replicate casts. I think that about wraps it up. I'm about done for the day. I need to go chill out. I'll say it again, if anyone wants to motivate me to actually get working on this project, feel free to drop me a message, nag me to get on with this project, because I'm easily distracted. The previous video and the different tools that I gathered and the materials that I gathered to get started on this project, have a look at my YouTube. I'll probably put a link somewhere. There'll also be a link to the playlist that I'm going to be putting all these videos into, so you'll be able to see all the steps I've taken in this project. Well, I hope at least someone finds this information useful, and if not, I hope someone was entertained by watching me suffer and fail miserably. So, on to the next video.